On the 7th of January 2024, tens of thousands of people on Twitter, in the middle of conversations and arguments, out of nowhere, tweeted this. I'm sorry, but I cannot provide an answer to your question. I'm sorry, but I cannot comply with this request as it provide the requested response as it goes against OpenAI's use case policy.
Wait, were all of these bots? But they have the blue tick verified thingy and they were having normal human conversations. Yeah, these aren't those normal scammy bots that are trying to sell you something or take you to a porn website. These were, again, having proper human conversations about certain topics. Take a look at this very scary visual. So there's around 5.2 billion users on the internet, on social media right now, connecting, talking to each other, arguing, talking about different topics, sharing opinions about different things. But according to this report by Imperva, which is a cybersecurity company, around 51% of all internet activity is bots. And in some countries, the percentage is even higher.
Okay, wait, time out. I just realized from my previous point, I made it sound like 51% of all the people you see on the internet, on social media, are bots. Which is not true, because in this report by Imperva, the 51% of bots include a lot of the automated posting tools and data scraping and monitoring bots and stuff. So you might ask what the actual number is. What percentage of the social media people you see on the internet are bots? Well, we don't know exactly, and we can't really tell, which is, I think, worse than knowing that it's a high number. But again, the more important part is what these bots do than how many of them there are.
So what are they doing? Who's funding them? Because these bots are expensive. So it's weird for them to just be on the internet and existing and arguing when talking with people.
These networks of bots are tools. Weapons, actually, very smart ones, which you've probably seen being used way more than you might think.
Known as the tweeter-in-chief, President Trump has openly credited social media for his historic win. Enter the world of click farm.
Researchers estimate nearly a third of the millions of tweets in support of Donald Trump are from automated accounts.
It's from Blake Lively's explosive allegations against co-star Justin Baldoni.
In Johnny Depp's defamation trial against his ex-wife Amber Heard.
I thought they got rid of the bots, though. No, the bots are back? Probably mostly bots.
But before going into the actual real-life places that these bots have been used, let's first understand how they actually work and how good they actually work. We'll start with this little playbook on how to make people believe certain things. Let's say I'm an orange, and I want all the other fruit to believe that I'm the best fit to be the president of all fruit, especially against my opponent, the apple. Step 1. Make the truth very, very hard to understand. I start by flooding the internet with contradictions that are too complicated and extensive to follow and fact check. And doing this is so much easier when I have a ton of bots that act like real people and can say whatever I want on the internet. I'll make them say things like,
apples are actually not even fruit, they're berries.
Fruit with thinner skin actually corrupts faster.
Apple skin actually causes cancer.
I'll also have reports published of me, orange, actually being funded by the vegetables. But then also reports of apples receiving even bigger donations from the vegetables government. This gets very confusing and people start to distrust everything. Actual facts become worthless, and that's exactly what we want. We want people to not care about the facts. We move to step 2. Flood the space with noise. I don't make one strong argument. I make 10,000 weak ones. Because people aren't looking for facts anymore. They're going off of arguments that they see the most in front of them. And this is perfect for me because I'm making 1,000 of those every day. Some stronger than the others, but all coming from real-looking people on the internet. Step 3. Artificial consensus. On the internet, people see real people saying things like,
I'm an appleist turned oranger, never going back.
I'm a fruit scientist and I'd support orange over apple any day.
Step 4. Target the very identity of being an appleist. I create a bunch of fake pro-Apple accounts, my opponent's supporters, and post very obviously weak, stupid arguments.
Apple seeds are actually bigger than orange seeds, that's why they're actually better.
So when people see stuff like that, the people that are already pro-orange get even more validated in their position, and the people that are in the middle without a preference kind of want less and less to associate with the Appleists. But I go a step further. I stage attacks done by Appleists. An apple chopped 8 innocent grapes. I emotionally rile up all the fruit, make them really fear the Apple identity. And at the same time on the internet, I start to post a lot of neutral, real people experiences.
I don't mind appleists, but I was going shopping the other day with my mother and this apple snatched her purse and ran away.
And then I follow this post by some other comments by real people saying,
typical Appleists. We need to send them back to where they came from.
These Appleists are really ruining the country. We need to make fruit great again.
And when the real people see this, they find this sentiment everywhere on the internet. And no matter what their political position is, they're gonna find it really hard to counter all of these arguments in these real-life situations. All of these steps that I talked about, by the way, are actually loosely based off of Vladislav Surkov's methods for bringing and keeping Putin in power. But I mean, you could probably relate all of this to most political situations all over the world. But this is how these bots are playing a role in politics as one of the best weapons ever created for it. And it's actually pretty standard now for governments to have their own bot farms. Iran, the US, Russia, Israel, and China, all of them have pretty strong ones. But this gets very slightly worse now that private entities have started to have their own bot farms.
We saw it in some recent controversies over the past few years regarding celebrities and rich people. Of course, it takes money to feed the bots. I'll talk about these three cases specifically. Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp, where Johnny Depp was the public favorite. Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni, sexual harassment case, where Justin Baldoni was the public favorite. And the sudden weird hatred towards Pedro Pascal recently out of nowhere. So it starts with the Johnny Depp defamation case against Amber Heard in 2022.
Johnny Depp suing Amber Heard for $50 million.
Which was very public, everybody was talking about it and picking sides.
We're gonna watch Johnny Depp be an absolute legend in court.
All out, it's not looking good for them, I must say that.
My God, they're cooking Amber's cheeks right now.
Shouting and yelling and cheering and shouting, Johnny, Johnny, Johnny.
But a bunch of analysts noticed something very weird. They saw that a huge amount of accounts were posting the same thing, many of them being newly created accounts, and they were posting very heavily within short time frames. Also, their messaging didn't look chaotic, how it would normally be with real human beings on the internet. Their arguments were all very coordinated, and these were the pro-Johnny Depp accounts. It wasn't proven in any way that these were bot armies, which actually is kind of impossible to do now. I'm going to talk about that in a bit. But this gets a bit more extreme in a more recent case. In 2024, the Justin Baldoni versus Blake Lively case. They just made a movie together, and Blake Lively accused Justin Baldoni of sexual harassment.
As the fallout begins from Blake Lively's explosive allegations against co-star Justin Baldoni.
It was a huge controversy. Everybody was talking about it, picking sides again.
Blake Lively has nothing.
But Sohan Chen, this guy, the founder of Information Tracer, also one of the people who detected the Johnny Depp bots thing, reported to The Guardian that more than 80% of the pro-Baldoni posts showed signs of inorganic activity. Again, the same stuff as he reported with Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard. A bunch of newly created accounts posting the same thing, very coordinated and everything. But with this case, actually, Blake Lively's legal team actually did bring up and accuse Justin Baldoni of using deliberate social media manipulation with fake accounts and stuff. They also actually included a bunch of leaked screenshots from Justin Baldoni's team saying something like, "We can bury anyone with this," which was used to suggest the intentional amplification of certain narratives online. But Baldoni's team said that it was taken out of context and that it was something else. So we don't know. Now, some similar activity also happened with Pedro Pascal, which, if you don't know, is an actor who was generally considered very likable, and like everybody kind of just was chill with him. Everybody liked him.
I don't know. Fuck the people that try to make you scared.
And his case was a bit different for a few reasons, because first of all, people kind of caught on to the fake hate, because all the heat, it all felt kind of out of nowhere and forced, and a lot of people actually expressed that in the comment sections. This happened in May 2024, shortly after Pedro Pascal showed his public support for Palestine.
For the Sudanese American Physicians Association and the Palestinian Children's Relief Fund.
A gigantic wave of hostile tweets and posts and negative hashtags started trending about him suddenly, especially on Twitter. And a lot of journalists and entities like Axios and Bot Sentinel noticed some patterns. And the messaging was extremely repetitive. Many accounts had lower follower accounts. A lot of accounts either looked automated or were newly created. So while it isn't really proven in a significant way that these were bots, the behavior pattern is consistent with inorganic amplification. I also want to make something clear. This doesn't mean that all of the negative comments against these people were fake. A lot of it was real people, but the hate was amplified with bots, and a lot of real people were persuaded by that. Honestly, including me for a couple of these cases before I started doing research for this video. Hope. Do we have hope? How are we doing with protocols and anti-bot security stuff? Yeah, that's where it kind of gets pessimistic. It's getting nearly impossible to detect these bots now as the time progresses. So how you usually detect bots is in two ways. The qualitative way, which is a bunch of human moderators working in these big social media companies, looking over suspicious accounts and looking at the activity and seeing if it looks non-human. They're watching out for things like whether the account posts only one specific thing, or if the accounts were made recently, or if they have actual friends, if they're having actual conversations rather than just having one agenda. Now, unfortunately, this is getting more and more difficult because these newer bots actually have all those things. They have entire personalities and interests and everything outside of their assigned agenda. They're actually having meaningful conversations with strangers on the internet, like actual human strangers. So then comes the quantitative method, which is an algorithm looking over a bunch of accounts and detecting weird behaviors, like how frequently they're posting, their general activity and their waking times, whether they're going to sleep and stuff or not. Unfortunately, again, this is also getting more difficult because these bots have their own effing circadian rhythm. They sleep, like they actually have inactive times for like a period of time where an actual human would be sleeping to mimic human activity very, very good. Are we doomed? Are we cooked, chat? Not entirely though, because there's still some very, very good quality bot detection systems that actually are able to detect these bots as well. But the thing is, they're very, very expensive to run, and these big companies can't run them just widely for their entire platform. So they're actually kind of incentivized to not use it unless it's very, very needed, which in most cases they don't end up using it. It's not nice. These bot farms actually did way more than just shift our opinions and mislead us. They took away something very, very important from us. Something positive that we'd been creating for the past few decades. It took away everything good that the internet was becoming. It was becoming the great source of justice where you can't suppress any voice no matter how powerful you are. Powerful people had to hide their bad actions. Because with the internet, they can't just bribe a journalist or blackmail them to suppress them from exposing their bad actions. Yes, the governments could still suppress and censor stuff, but that still didn't work as well most times. It was beautiful and powerful. But what ended up happening now in the favor of the powerful people is the loss of trust that the people have in the internet now. Because there's so much noise. To get to any form of truth, you have to work so much. Now you can't trust the comment section, the real people's opinions and stuff, because you're never sure whether it's a real human being behind it. And you find yourself caring less and less about these social injustices. This is what these bots really did to us, to everybody, to the internet. It handicapped all of its power. Thank you for sticking around throughout the whole video. If you liked this one, watch this one as well. It's pretty cool, it's pretty interesting.
In the last few years, it's released more classified documents than the rest of the world's media combined. Can that possibly be true?